Welcome back. You're still watching Channels Beam on Channels Television. We're now being joined by Gbenga Sheson. Gbenga Sheson is the Executive Director of Paradigm Initiative Nigeria, an ICT capacity building and policy intervention firm. Gbenga, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, if you look at the whole issue of this cybercrime bill that was actually written by your firm, what is the main aim behind this bill? I mean, of course, we've heard so many things behind this bill, but let's hear from the horse's mouth.
Well, so we didn't write it, but we've been involved with this process since about 2008, and it's been up and down since then. So there, not 1001, but a lot of versions of the bill before. Even as I speak now, there's still a number of versions in the House of Assembly. I mean, in the National Assembly, in the House and in the Senate. And there is another one that the executive has presented to the National Assembly. We haven't seen much traction on that yet. So there have been different versions, but if you focus on the one that seems to have everything in it, that's a new one from the executive bill on cybercrime bill 2013. Yeah. It's the basic idea was to stop a problem that Nigeria is very well known for, which is cybercrime. Unfortunately, I mean, it's been terrible as our ICT image globally, even our brand globally. 419 Nigerian. It's even called Nigerian 419.
Really?
Unfortunately,
really.
An interesting thing is, so 419 is a section of the code that actually addresses the problem, but it's been turned on its head to now be the way it's addressed as a crime that originates from Nigeria. Recent research has shown that it actually did not originate from Nigeria. Fingers are pointed towards Spain, but that's not what interests today. The fact is, unfortunately, Nigeria has been quoted as the third when it comes to cybercrime perpetration globally, after the US and the UK. But guess what? The US and the UK don't get as much flack as we get, because they have policies and processes that address some of these problems, and they are not seen as indirectly or directly encouraging cybercrime in their country as it is.
Can't we have those processes implemented here?
So those are some of the policies that we now have in the National Assembly, some of them. So for example, we don't have a data privacy law in Nigeria, which is terrible, which means that anybody can use my data illegally, which is what most cyber criminals want to do. They want to take your identity and use it to do something, so that when the criminal is caught, it's not them, it's you. And it could be that. So we have some of those bills, but unfortunately, many of these bills have gone on and on without, getting serious attention. The cybercrime bill, for example. So when Obasanjo was president in 2004, he set up the National Cybercrime Working Group. Unfortunately, nothing happened in 2007. And you know what happens with the new legislative house is they start, all over again. 2007 started all over again. 2011 they started all over again now. And guess what? This is 2014. We're almost at that period where nothing happens in the National Assembly again. By May, June, nothing happens anymore, because everybody either wants to get re-elected, or they basically want to put someone there who will represent their interests.
Is there any law about, putting the cyber, to track all these Yahoo?
The Evidence Act was amended in 2011 to accept digital evidence in court, so that was helpful. The EFCC Act is also a bit helpful. The criminal code and the penal code, there's a bill to amend them also, so that they can address some of these issues. Because the biggest problem with cybercrime activities is there are two sides to it. There's the financial crime eventually, which EFCC and co can take care of, but there's an aspect that is not, that doesn't involve financial crime. If I take over your website, or I take over your network, and I use it maliciously, at that point I'm not getting any financial gains, so EFCC can come in. But guess what? I've committed a crime because I've hijacked your personality.
So who comes in this instance?
So at this point, well, we can say maybe the police can come in, but unfortunately not exactly equipped for that at the moment. You can say maybe the law courts can help, but guess what? When you get to court, how do you prove that my digital identity is not the real me? So those are some of the loopholes that the cybercrime bill could plug, and that's what some of the bills could do.
Just before you go, there's this contract to an Israeli company.
Oh yes, that extreme.
About $40 million, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. To monitor internet surveillance.
So that's where there's a problem. There's the fact that Nigeria needs to fix the cybercrime problem, but there's also the other extreme where globally, this is not just Nigeria. We just saw it was Snowden saga in the US in June 2013, but globally, many countries, because many reasons, some of them because of security, some of them because they're just dictators who are the presidents of those countries, some of them because, they just want to find out what's going on online so that, citizens do not do one or two things they don't want them to do. They begin to, censor content online or begin to do surveillance, mass surveillance. Every country in the name of security already does surveillance. And people won't complain because you know that if there's a terrorist event in your country, you want them caught and punished, right? But there's a new trend of mass surveillance where everybody is under surveillance, basically, which is illegal. Because in our Constitution, Section 39, it makes it really clear that it's 739, it's very clear that every citizen has a right to privacy. But unfortunately, the government in 2013 awarded the contract, $40 million contract. By the way, that contract, we mentioned this a little earlier. The provision for that contract in the budget for last year was 61 million US dollars. 61 million.
So what happened to the
for 1 year? Well, it might not be just 21 because the contract that was paid for was a 2-year contract, and they paid 40. So if there is 61 for last year and 61 for this year, then the question to ask is, where is the 82 million? But that's not even where the problem is right now.
But is it confirmed that it's in the budget for 2014?
Well, for 2013, yes. For 2014, we haven't seen exactly what the final budget will be. When we see that, then we'll know, what is approved and what is not approved. But
Parents have their own reservations because if you take our own data and our own security apparatus and then you hand it to a foreigner, sabotage can come in.
That's even another way to look at it. The other way to look at it is that if you clamp down online, what you will do is you will stifle innovation. Innovation will die. It's the same, administration saying we want to grow broadband by, 500% or something over the next 5 years, or even 700%, and at the same time you're trying to clamp down on the same space. It doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Gbenga Sheson. Thank you for catching up with Channels Beam this afternoon. Thank you for watching. Of course, you can send your comments some on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. We've received some. We're scrolling some. We're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll be reading some of those comments before reviewing the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel for the past week. Join us right after this break. Revealing Discussion with Gbenga. To watch that again, you can find both discussions on our website, channelstv.com, and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/channelsweb. Let's now look at some selected comments you have sent on our social media platforms before reviewing the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel for the past week.
Excuse me.
So in the course of this, if you collapse, what do you want to...
Sorry, can I get a word? I have the utmost respect for...
This week at number 5 is the war of words that ensued between the Minister of Finance and the House Committee on Finance.
I expect that.
Well, I don't understand your definition of respect. But
I don't expect to come here to be handled in the rough manner with which you have done.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
In fourth is the Minister of Aviation telling a journalist who asked if she will resign to go back to school.
I think it means you don't read, or you probably don't understand English, because I read it. And what they said is that Mr. President can and should review. That's what he said there. So you probably should go back to school.
My honor and privilege to invite to the podium the Osho Baba of our time.
Third is Edo State Governor's Chief of Staff, welcoming his principal to the podium during the 5th year in office celebration.
The man who has dollarized the political cinematography of Edo State.
Second sees a pastor and his family paraded by the Department of State Security for allegedly printing fake Naira notes.
I suffered from depression.
And the most viewed video for the last week is this revelation by former First Lady of Enugu State, Mrs. Clara Chime.
All I'm here to just to clear the air, let Nigerians know that I thank them so much, and that I'm now liberated, and now I thank God I'm happy, just very happy. I can't believe that I will one day, be myself or be happy this way.
There you go, the 5 most viewed videos on our YouTube channel. More than 47 million internet users in Nigeria, comprising general public, are on the verge of losing their internet privacy on every form of cyberspace communication, as the federal government has intensified efforts to monitor online communication. The Minister of Information, Mr. Labaran Maku, reacting to the outcry that followed the award of the contract, defended the action, saying, "Everywhere in the world, emails are seen by government. Even the world superpower America spies on citizens' mails to checkmate the activities of unscrupulous elements capable of threatening its internal security. There is no government all over the world," he adds, "that is uninterested in what comes in and goes out of its territorial boundaries." Now that the contract has been awarded to Elbit for about $40 million for the period of 2 years, what becomes of the extra $21 million earmarked for the project is still unclear, and if budgeted for in 2014, that will make it $82 million yet to be accounted for. With this, we end the show today. The conversation, however, continues on Twitter using the hashtag Internet Surveillance. You can also follow at Victor_Mbidi, that's at Victor_MBIDI, and our channel's Beam. Thank you on behalf of Channels Web team for watching Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. See you next week.